Hey friends, welcome back to Grand Adventure. I'm your host, Mark Guido, and welcome to Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This is our first Grand Adventure ever with the RV outside of the United States, so come along. We intentionally had a short travel day, traveling into Quebec from our last stop in Vermont Champlain Valley, because we didn't know what to expect bringing our RV across the border into Canada for the first time. But the wait time was minimal, and once we answered a long slew of questions from the border guard, we were waved through without further inspection. There are a number of things you're not allowed to bring into Canada, including some fresh meats, baked goods and snack foods containing meats, certain eggs, some species of fresh fish, certain potatoes, and dairy products, produce, or dried or cured meats originating outside the U.S. Pets require papers documenting proof of vaccination. Firearms and ammunition are an absolute no-no without obtaining Canadian permits in advance, and some of those permitting procedures can be extremely cumbersome, to say the least. For anyone planning to visit Canada in their RV, it's imperative that they research Canadian government websites in advance to ensure that they're in compliance for a swift and painless border crossing.
Any cannabis, sir?
No, sir.
CBD products?
No, sir.
Firearms?
No, sir.
Any weapons for self-defense? Pepper spray, mace, knives?
No, sir.
Good. Are you traveling with cash over 5,000 US?
I wish. No.
Okay, you have a good one.
Thank you, you too.
Bye-bye.
Quebec's Montérégie region occupies a large swath of territory between the U.S. border and Montreal that the French began to colonize in the early 16th century. This is a flat expanse, punctuated by only a few small monadnocks. That's one of Canada's most productive agricultural regions, an extension of the fertile farmland that surrounds Lake Champlain on the American side of the border. It's known for its vineyards, orchards, and panoramas, and tourism also makes up a significant portion of the local economy. This region is where I first met Mrs. Grand Adventure 29 years ago. We're staying this week in Montérégie in the tiny hamlet of Saint-Philippe, about 15 miles south of downtown Montreal at Camping Le Clé des Champs. This is a large, well-appointed RV resort that is largely populated with seasonal campers, with a few sites reserved for transient visitors like us. In Canada, full-service campsites are classified as 3 services. Water and electric sites are called 2 services, and of course, electric only is defined as 1 service. Our 3-service 50-amp campsite here is costing us $516 Canadian for the week, including taxes and fees, or $74 Canadian per night. With today's exchange rate, that equates to $54 US per night. Thanks to the campground services and amenities, as well as its proximity to Montreal, this is one of the most expensive campsites we've booked for our entire swing through Eastern Canada this season. We'd rather set up camp out here in the countryside away from the hustle and bustle of the Montreal suburbs, or even worse, on the island of Montreal itself. Yet we're just a short drive away from exploring the city. It's rained all day, Monday Memorial Day, ruining a full day of filming. Likewise, the drizzle continued on Tuesday. But we're starting to get cabin fever, and it's time to get out and explore in between rain showers. We'll do exactly that, following a quick message from our video sponsor, so stay tuned. Improve your sleep while camping with a new RV mattress from our video sponsor, Brooklyn Bedding. They offer 4 different mattress constructions in 21 different sizes, depending on preference and price point. Everything from standard queen to all of those funky, odd RV sizes. Brooklyn Bedding manufactures all of its mattresses right at their factory in Arizona. And RVmattress.com ships them right to your door for free, all rolled up and compressed in a vacuum seal. Just cut the wrap to unroll the mattress onto your bed, then cut the vacuum seal. For our mattress, Brooklyn Bedding starts with a layer of high-density foam for a supported base. Just above the base, an 8-inch core of over 1,000 individually encased coils provides the essential support. Immediately above the coils is a 1-inch layer of memory foam and 2-inch layer of hyper-elastic TitanFlex foam. Finally, at the very top is a 1.5-inch layer of antimicrobial CopperFlex foam with TitanCool, which is designed to maintain an ideal sleep body temperature of 88 degrees. Every RV mattress from Brooklyn Bedding comes with a 10-year warranty and a 120-night sleep trial. Visit rvmattress.com/grandadventure to get 25% off your entire purchase with promo code GRANDADVENTURE. The city of Montreal, the largest city in Quebec and the 10th largest in all of North America, is situated on an island surrounded by the St. Lawrence River. As of 2021, the city had a population of 1.76 million and a metropolitan population of 4.3 million. As throughout the province of Quebec, French is the official language here, although in the Montreal area, nearly 60% of residents are bilingual in English as well. Samuel de Champlain established a fur trading post on the island of Montreal in 1611, on a site initially named La Place Royale. Colonists left France in 1641 for Quebec and arrived on the island the following year as part of the effort to populate New France. Ville Marie, later renamed Montreal, was founded in 1642 on the island's south shore. Ville Marie became a center for the fur trade and a base for further exploration, after chasing out the native Mohawk and Iroquois. Montreal eventually fell to the British in 1760 during the French and Indian War, and the colony surrendered to Great Britain. Our visit to Montreal also ties historically into our 2 previous episodes filmed along the shores of Lake Champlain in Vermont and New York. After Benedict Arnold captured Fort Ticonderoga in May 1775, that fort served as a launching point for Arnold's invasion of Quebec in September. While Arnold approached the Plains of Abraham in Quebec City, Montreal fell to American forces led by Richard Montgomery on November 13, 1775. American forces eventually abandoned Montreal in June 1776 and attempted to burn the city ahead of the arrival of British General Guy Carleton's fleet. Montreal today is a cosmopolitan city that for more than a century and a half was the industrial and financial center of Canada. Some buildings still standing here date back to the late 17th and early 18th centuries, especially in the area known as Old Montreal, or Vieux Montréal in French, characterized by their unique French influence in gray stone construction. Architecture and cobbled streets here have been maintained or restored, and this neighborhood adjacent to the old port is very popular with tourists and visitors. If Montreal has a main commercial thoroughfare, it's arguably St. Catherine Street, home to innumerable shops, boutiques, restaurants, bars, and nightclubs, situated both along St. Catherine Street itself and countless side streets. I'll admit that every year I age, I become less and less enamored with cities, and would rather explore the suburbs and surrounding rural areas. So we're going to spend some time exploring communities on the South Shore in Montérégie. Communities like Boucherville. Boucherville was founded along the South Shore of the St. Lawrence River in 1667 by Pierre Boucher, for whom the city was later named. The first Catholic church of the village of Boucherville was built in 1670. This church, made of wood, was eventually replaced in 1712 by a building made of brick. It was replaced in 1801 by the current Sainte-Famille Church. Boucherville is immediately adjacent to Longueuil, one of the largest Montreal suburbs on the South Shore. Here, the borough of Le Vieux-Longueuil, or Old Longueuil, is an historic neighborhood named a Heritage District in 1993, thanks to 450 buildings built before 1945. Rue St. Charles, one block inland from the St. Lawrence River, is the main street here, with many small businesses, among them restaurants, bars, and corner stores. The Co-Cathedral of Saint Antoine de Padoue in Old Longueuil was classified as an historical monument by the government of Quebec in 1984. It was built in the 1880s on the site of Fort Longueuil, a fort constructed between 1685 and 1690 as the fortified residence of Charles Le Moyne de Longueuil, the only Canadian-born person to be raised to the rank of baron by the French king. Just east of our campground, the Richelieu River is the outlet from Lake Champlain, carrying the lake's waters to the St. Lawrence River. Here along the shoreline of the Richelieu River sits the community of Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. This is actually the northernmost navigable point of Lake Champlain. The Chambly Canal extends for 12 miles north of here along the west bank of the river and provides modern freight passage to Chambly and the St. Lawrence River. The French built Fort Saint-Jean here in the 17th century. It provided an important communication link during the French and Indian Wars. During the American Revolutionary War, control of the town changed hands several times as British and American forces moved through the area. Nearby L'Acadie merged with Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu in 2001. The area was settled in the late 18th century by Acadians returning to Canada after the forced deportation in the mid-1700s. The beautiful Acadie Presbytery and Church here dates to 1801. When we come right back, following a quick ad break to pay the bills, we'll get a taste of the natural side of Montargis, so stay tuned. One reason that we spent so much time on the South Shore during our week here is the traffic. Traffic in, into, and out of the island of Montreal is positively insane. Most of the freeways built here have only 2 lanes in each direction, and their crumbling asphalt has created numerous construction zones that simply complicate the traffic even further. My frustration has been compounded by spending an hour in traffic to travel only a few miles, to arrive to film at tourist destinations that are all inexplicably closed. I felt like a hamster on an exercise wheel, and I have to do something to alleviate this stress. I think that getting out into nature is probably the ticket. So Zoe and I have arrived for a peaceful and relaxing hike at Mont Saint-Bruno National Park. Recall that earlier we mentioned that Montargis is a flat expanse punctuated only by a few small monadnocks. Mont Saint-Bruno is one of those. These small isolated mountains are the eroded remnants of intrusive igneous rocks that are harder than the surrounding sedimentary rock. These are believed to possibly be the feeder intrusions of long extinct volcanoes, which would have been active about 125 million years ago. Most of what I see as trails here are actually gravel roads. Although these broad boulevards aren't exactly what I had in mind, it feels good to clear my head and my frustration over this week's filming failures in this enclave of nature right on the edge of a bustling metropolitan area. For reasons that I cannot explain, Mont Saint-Bruno is called a national park. Yet, it's not administered by Parks Canada, the Canadian equivalent of the U.S. National Park Service. It's operated by CEPAC, Quebec's provincial park authority. So, wouldn't that make Mont Saint-Bruno a provincial park? Oddly, both federally and provincially administered parks in Quebec are labeled Parc National. Federal national parks in the province are distinguished by the addition of Canada in their official name. But even though they've tried to separate from Canada several times, as recently as 1995, when the secessionist movement lost a referendum by only 1.2%, Quebec is still not a nation. So how is this a national park? I'm thinking too hard. I need to remember that I'm here to clear my head. Zoe and I are following a loop route that circumnavigates Lac Seigneural, the largest lake in the park, together with a side trip to the top of the park's small suburban ski area. To enjoy the view, we're covering 5.7 miles on this route. Most of this loop, the trail stays well back of the lake, offering only glimpses of the water through the thick forest. Occasionally, however, there are opportunities to get a better view. The area of the park contains many lakes that have permitted the construction of many water mills. One of these, the Vieux Moulin, still stands to this day and is used as a rest area for skiers and hikers in different seasons. We hope that you've enjoyed exploring the Montreal area with us. Coming up next week, we're going to get packed up and head for Quebec City. And the area is just west of Quebec City. So if you're not yet a grand adventurer, there is no better time than now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a grand adventure, which we premiere every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. Understand, it is extremely important to us that if you like this episode, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you're going to find the comment section where we'd love to hear from you each and every week. So until next Wednesday from the Quebec City area, please remember life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.